Rachel, welcome to the Twitch podcast. Thank you very much indeed for coming along today. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Liz. Thank you very much for having me.
Excellent.
And Chloe, my demo dolly.
I was going to say, Chloe, we've never had a baby in the studio before. Chloe, your demo dolly. Well, we're going to find out all about Chloe, the demo, and why you have her with you a bit later on. But I think, first of all, let's get an overview of you and what you do. Where does it all start? It's HR and babies, I think, is probably what we know you for.
Yes, I'm a lady with many hats. I like to say that I have a portfolio career because I do lots of different things. My professional career in HR started 2007, so a long, long time ago. And I started in the grad scheme at the NHS, so learnt my trade in the deep end in the health service, and then progressed throughout my career, taking the next step and working my way up and covering HR and organisation development. So a really broad career. Stepped out of permanent employment in 2015 because we were just about to go through an IVF journey, and being in permanent employment was, to me at that time, really difficult. Progressed really quickly into really senior roles with great responsibilities, which meant I was spending a lot of time working and putting a lot of stress on my body through work, travelling and really long hours. So I felt I really needed to take a step back. So I left permanent employment in 2015 and we went through our IVF journey and were fortunate enough to have our daughter in 2016. And at that point I thought, I don't want to be a HR director anymore. I don't want to be a senior HR person. I want to be a mum. It had taken me 8 years to get to that place. And so I didn't really know what I was doing. I had got a year that I was going to take as maternity and review. I thought, I'll do something yummy mummy. I'll just be really nice. And then I found that actually, no, I did need some stimulation. Phoebe needed to go into nursery for a bit of socialisation time because she's on her own as an only child. And so I decided to step into the world of HR consultancy. So bringing those big organisation HR skills to smaller organisations locally. And that's where my journey in consultancy started in 2017. And then worked with lots of lovely small businesses locally, helping them to be HR compliant, think about their culture, leadership and talent. And then we had COVID in 2020 and some of my small clients just didn't continue to exist in the same way. Some really pivoted and become even more successful, which was great. But I then decided actually relying on other people's business for my security was a bit of a challenge. So I took some really big projects. I went and worked with some big organisations on like interim projects on leadership, culture, worked with NICE, the National Institute for Clinical Excellence, went and worked with MMU, doing some work around their digital teams transformation. And I then went and worked with a mental health organisation up in Yorkshire, doing really big projects, as well as keeping my small clients that were continuing locally. And then did a couple of years working with University of Manchester on a really large project, being a portfolio manager for their culture, leadership, performance, well-being projects and helping them to kind of move into the future, which was really exciting. But during that period, I had a health incident that really made me kind of take stock of what I wanted, and being sat in a hospital bed attached to all the drips, not quite at the time realising how serious it was, but actually with hindsight, if I hadn't gone in the 24 hours that I did, we might not be having this conversation. I thought, actually, I need to find something that kind of brings me joy. By complete accident, I found Basking Babies. So just doing a search.
Hence Chloe.
Hence Chloe, the demo dolly. So I found it, and I was so drawn to the brand because it's all about creating communities and helping families and baby development. And I thought, this sounds really interesting. So further back in my background, I did business and psychology as my undergraduate degree. So brain development is really kind of interesting. I got a really fizzy feeling in my brain thinking, I need to find out more about this. So looked into it, and the whole creating communities aspect was really important because when I had Phoebe, I'd been 8 years with infertility and all my friends had had their babies much younger. I felt quite old. I think the word geriatric was used in the hospital. But I felt quite lonely. So, yes, you've still got your friends, but they're at a different stage of life to you. So, this felt like, actually, yeah, I can create something where I can help bring people together. They
Mm.
can make friends that are having the sleepless nights at the same time as you. They're going through the teething challenges. They're going through all of those early parenting challenges at the same time that you are, regardless of whether you knew them before, you're all experiencing something else. And the classes are just so lovely. So
Oh,
it didn't take me very long to think, yeah, this is for me. This is what I want to do. And to have it alongside my HR stuff. So I decided that some of the big projects that I'd been working on weren't serving me because they were taking up a lot of time. I decided that I needed to be more focused on my family life and not getting, yeah, I'm a reformed workaholic, Liz. I'm going to be honest. Reforming, shall we say, not necessarily reformed, because now I've got 3 businesses. But
you're so like me.
yeah, and
I definitely relate to.
you just keep adding, don't you?
Yeah.
And I felt that after really reflecting on that time in hospital, and I wasn't able to see Phoebe, and I wasn't able to, and I thought, actually, I don't want to be not able to do pickups. I don't want to make myself ill so that I can't do the things that I want to be able to go on holiday, to spend that time together, and be physically fit enough to do those things. So it was a real kind of, yeah, take stock. And this Basking Babies really felt like it would fit with what I was looking for. So yeah, jumped into
Lovely.
that in 2024.
Great. How long were you in hospital for? How long was that recovery period of reflection?
Yeah, so I was in hospital for just under a week, so not a great length of time. However, I will say, when I was in, I didn't realise quite how serious it was until they wouldn't let me come home one day, and they'd said they were going to let me home, and then they didn't let me home, and I was really really upset about it. I did try to break out. I did kind of make a
Oh,
break for it
really?
with my drip stand
Oh,
and
my goodness.
down to the main entrance, and I remember ringing Glenn and saying, "You're going to have to come and get me." And then when I got home, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was really unwell.
And it was, do you want to share with us what you had?
So I had very serious infection, sepsis infection that came from a bacterial sinus infection. And it
God,
complicated by some of the medication that I was taking, but I was very seriously dehydrated. I was really quite poorly.
crikey. Did it just
And
come on very suddenly? Because you hear about sepsis as being spot these signs. What
I'd
what
been
were they?
networking in the morning, and it was my day to do my business bulletin. So I'd done that. And I got home about 2 o'clock, and I had to ring my mum and say, oh, I've started to feel unwell. Can you get Phoebe from school? And then by the time she was home from school, my temperature was like 39. And I said, no, it's fine. You know what it's like. Glenn had said the week before that he thought he'd got flu. And I said, it's not flu. It's just a cold. You'll be fine. And then by sort of 6 o'clock, my temperature was getting on for 40 degrees. I was encouraged to ring 111,
Mm.
and they said, "Oh, tell us about your symptoms." Did all that, and we had my dad was had COPD, and he had one of those kind of things that you
Oh,
put on
yeah.
your
Oxygen.
hand. So we just did that, and my pulse was 160. So they
Gosh.
said, "Oh, you need to come up to the hospital."
Oh,
And I got whizzed through A&E, and I think they thought I might have been having a heart attack because the heart rate was so high. And I was completely dehydrated because of some medication that I was taking. So they couldn't take any blood, they couldn't get any needles in. And I think at the time I was not really comprehending it, which I think
yeah.
is one of the
Yeah,
signs that
yeah.
you're a little bit
See, yeah.
floopy. But I thought I was fully with it. And then I was in A&E for a little while, and then I got sent to the ward, and they did manage to start to get some fluids in me, and they started giving me some antibiotics, but they didn't at that point know what they were
Oh,
dealing with. And then I got whisked up to the elderly care ward on a bay, and then I got moved to a side room because I had got flu as well as everything else that was going on that
my
needed
goodness.
to be kind of isolated. Yeah, I was kind of stuck in a side room whilst having all these drips
This
up.
was 2024
Yes.
before, yeah,
Yeah,
so just
March
as
2024.
crumbs.
So before I'd started with Basking Babies,
Yeah.
and I had somebody message me, oh, this disciplinary issue was raised. Like, what can I do? And I'm in the hospital bed trying to respond to this, and I'm thinking, oh, this is just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not ideal. I couldn't have visitors. So before we knew that I'd got the flu as well on top of everything else, my mum had been in, and Glenn obviously couldn't come up. My husband couldn't come up with Phoebe because she couldn't come into the hospital. So I felt really lonely. And then when they found out that it got the flu as well, they wouldn't let anybody in to see me. I couldn't go off the ward. So I was then the week kind of just stuck on my
Oh,
own.
really? Gosh.
So it was really
That's
eye-opening.
yeah, absolutely. And then with sepsis, there's all sorts of reports about how the kind of afterwards it can affect you. How was that period of recovery, and how are you now?
So I was very fortunate, I think, that I went in when I did. I was very fortunate that the antibiotics worked very well for me. And whilst it was emotionally difficult, physically came out of it okay. So I was really, really, I mean, there were several times where I had to have like an emergency ECG because my heart rate was like
Mm.
going bonkers. But yeah, very fortunate to come out how I did. But what I will say is the health anxiety afterwards, when you really realise how serious it was, it's like, oh, well, I need to be, I've got my Apple Watch on today, and I'm really conscious of it bunging and wanting to check my ECG all the time and wanting to do this. And I'm not an unconfident
Yeah.
person, but I really felt like I needed to be accompanied places, which
Gosh,
is
crikey.
yeah, because like, oh, am I all right to be out on my own? Because I didn't realise I was unwell, but I was.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
clearly, I'm not very good at kind of
Yeah,
recognising the signs.
yeah, of
So
course, yeah.
for a few, I'm going to say maybe like a month or so, I felt really anxious about going
Mm.
out. I know you quickly get back into your
Yeah.
ways, don't you?
Mm.
And that's why taking the step back from some of the HR projects and doing some of the planning for the Basking Babies was really helpful
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
phase as well. But
Brilliant. So at the moment then, you're in sort of as you mentioned, you've got 3 businesses and it's a hybrid. What's the third?
so I do coach ladies going through fertility treatments.
Oh, right. Yes, of course.
So
Gosh, that's a
yeah,
whole 'nother podcast as
wow.
well. Crikey.
I don't advertise that. People come to me that referrals from friends.
Right. What a lovely thing to do.
And I started that in 2020 because I wanted to use my experience of that to
Yeah.
help other people.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic. So you're and the HR, before we go on to Basking Babies, the HR that you sort of focus on, tell me about that.
So I do a real mixture of HR because my background is so broad. I do a lot of work with helping small businesses get up and running, so making sure that they're compliant. But what I really am loving doing is helping business to become family friendly, fertility friendly workplaces. Because actually, if you recognise employees as people, as individuals, and as whole people, nobody at my work, when we were going through the IVF and through all the fertility stuff, nobody at my work knew about it because you
Mm.
don't tell
Yeah.
people. So creating space for conversation. So maybe that's training managers, maybe that's providing coaching services so that they can have those conversations because it's a really vulnerable thing to talk about, and not just fertility, family. So actually, if people have got elderly relatives or aging relatives that they're looking after, or they're in that squeezed middle where they've got children
Yeah.
and they've got aging parents, or maybe they haven't got any of that. Maybe they've
Mm.
got no support systems when they're trying to do all of their life
Mm.
on their own. So actually being able to have sensitive and human conversations around that is
Mm.
really important, but it doesn't come easy to everybody. So really working with them to put structures and things in place that can help them create that. Because if people feel valued, people feel seen as individuals, they're more likely to be able to function but well
Great.
in their roles,
Yeah, lovely,
which is
lovely.
good.
Great, great. So let's have a look at a day in the life of Rachel, and you're going to have to tell us what you how you start your day. 'Cause I think that's cracking.
Well, I start my day with a cup of tea and 2 hobnobs, and if they've got chocolate
I
on,
was going to say
even better.
chocolate or plain.
I don't mind, but if they've got chocolate on, that is like a win. And it's not something that I advocate as a healthy breakfast, but if I've not had my cup of tea and 2 hobnobs by 7:30, I just need to be kind of left alone till school drop-off time.
And how
So
do these arrive? Do you have them delivered to you in bed, or do you have to get them and make
no,
themselves?
I like to make them myself, Liz, so that it comes exactly as I like it. So my husband will have a nice healthy, a nice non-milky tea to wake himself up, maybe fruit or maybe like a peppermint tea or something to wake up nicely. Phoebe will have her breakfast. She likes to have a yogurt and then something else. I like to have a cup of tea and two
Has
hobnobs.
this been a long-term uh, diet
Well, yeah, we've just
choice?
talked about health, haven't we? And the importance of kind of recovering. I would say it's probably maybe the last year I've really felt the need for these two
Excellent.
hobnobs. Yeah,
Very disciplined. Do you ever have 3?
man.
Full disclosure.
Well, maybe it depends how if what time we've woken up. If we've been woken up at 5:30, maybe there's a third hobnob.
Excellent. But that puts you on the start of the day. That it's going to be
Yes.
a good day if you get your hobnobs.
Yeah, two hobnobs and
And
a
it's
cup of
going to be an
tea.
even better day if there's chocolate as well.
Yes, exactly.
Fabulous. So what happens then? You've got Phoebe going to school?
Yeah, so school drop off, and I have my brother's daughter some days as well. So she'll come, she'll have a breakfast with us, and we go to school, do the drop off. It's one of my favourite times of the day because all sorts that comes out in the morning. And at the moment, they're practicing to go to Disney to dance in May.
Wow.
And their dance school show is in July. So we're getting the routine. So I sit there, have my hobnobs and
Lovely.
my cup of tea while they're doing a little
Oh,
routine before school
fantastic.
drop
That's
off.
lovely.
So that's a highlight. And then I'm usually back in by 8:30 and then at the computer, just making sure I'm set up for the day.
And do you find you're home based a lot, or are you out and about with clients?
So I'm more home based now than I used to be. I like to mix it up. So with baby classes, I'm out, which is
Mm.
nice. But I do a lot of my HR stuff remotely, unless I'm needed on site. Up front, when I first start working with clients, I like to be out and about, getting a feel for their business in their buildings, meeting people with, yeah, most of it you can
Mm.
do from the office and Teams, and
Yeah, yeah.
is really good.
Good, good. Of course, we met through networking, as you mentioned
Yes.
earlier on. What does networking and networking generally mean to you?
So networking, I started when I first started my HR consultancy in 2017 because I was on my own. So having come from
Mm.
managing big teams or managing small teams or working with other people, I found that being a consultant was just a little bit lonely. So I did it to meet other business owners because it was a completely new world for me at the time. And it just provides that connection. So what I like about networking is each fortnight I'll see the same people, new people, and you'll have conversations and you get to meet people that you would use for your own business and that you can refer other people that you meet to as well. So it's handy for my clients when I know people that are accountants, that provide IT services, that do marketing, because
Mm.
I can say, actually, I really trust this person because I see them every fortnight and I think they would be a really good connection for
Yeah,
you. So
absolutely.
I think it broadens my network for
Yeah.
my clients.
And with the HR, are you finding you're very local based, or with the internet, are you national?
So I have got clients up in Scotland, down in London, but I like to have more local clients,
Mm.
and that means that I can go on site. So I've got
Yeah.
a couple of South Cheshire, North Staffs. They're all really local, and if I need to be there within half an hour
Yeah,
because
great.
there's an emergency,
Mm.
I can be there and I
Yeah.
can be on site. I can spend the day there, and I can still do my drop offs and
Mm.
pickups from school. So I like to work within that kind of
Yeah.
location, really.
Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. Well, it's great to hear about your HR and all the stuff that you've experienced over life. Let's go on now to your new passion, your
Yes.
latest passion, of course, basking babies. And Chloe?
Yes, Chloe.
Does
So
Phoebe get jealous of Chloe?
Phoebe likes to hold Chloe and she likes to do some of the routines with her as well, just to practice them. She helped me name her.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely. So what is basking babies all about then?
So Basking Babies is all about connection. So we provide classes from pregnancy through to preschool. So we do pregnancy relaxation. We can do that online or in person. We do nurture.
Any time of pregnancy? Any
Yeah,
particular stage?
yeah, any stage of pregnancy. Usually people come after 12 weeks because that's when they've started telling other
Hmm.
people. But any stage people can come. It's just about relaxation. It's just getting out of your head because yes, it's joyous and it can be really exciting, but also it brings lots
Mm.
of kind of stressful thoughts as well. So we do that. We do nurture circles for mums to be. So that is just about getting people again that are at the same stage as you
Hmm.
in one space and not being in your head. So we might do mindful crafts, we might do relaxation, we might do conversations. It's just to help build that community. Definitely there's a cup of tea. There may be a hod mob,
Mhm.
there may be other biscuits and little cakes or fruit snacks and things like that. So we just do lovely things together. And then we have our baby massage classes, which are suitable from newborn because they're so gentle and they're fantastic because they're all about brain development, bonding with your baby, just spending that time together, real connection and meeting other mummies. And we do baby yoga classes as well. So that's just taking it that next stage on, really good for development, physical, brain development of the baby, and that bonding between parent and child.
So with Chloe, do you use her to demonstrate
Yep.
on, and how would you demonstrate something to me now?
So I will just show you a little head move. So we're not going to put our hands on baby's head or baby's ears, but if they've just been really upset and really fractious, you can just do gentle strokes
Oh,
across the forehead, just really relaxing. And then you can just take it to the eyebrows and it just takes away the edge because they're feeling relaxed.
I do that with the dog.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've not got a baby,
And
but
yeah,
that's very relaxing, and his little
it's
eyes
just
go like that.
really, really relaxing. And we call it like a sleep move because actually it can be so soothing for them
Yeah.
just to take the edge off those things.
Do you find
And
if you're in a group of parents and babies and you've got one that's maybe crying and kicking off, does that cause them all to cry, or can you calm them all down together?
no, not necessarily. Sometimes it does. And sometimes we never do massage because they cry all the way through. And sometimes we do just chatting and walking about and bobbing with babies and things like that. And they don't always set each other off. Sometimes they do, but we're completely baby led. So if they're not feeling it, we would never massage if the little one wasn't feeling it. We
Right.
always ask for permission from the baby before we do start any massage with them. And which sounds really silly because you think, well, actually, a newborn can't tell you
Yeah.
whether they want massage or not. But actually, they've got all those lovely little cues. So actually, if they're calm and they're settled, if they're crying and screaming, it's not a time to do
Right.
massage with
Okay.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only exception would be if you were doing like a colic massage. So if they've got tummy discomfort, you might do that when they were a bit fractious because it might provide some
Mm,
comfort. But general massage you wouldn't do with them if
mm,
they were upset.
right.
And we just recommend having a cuddle or a feed or change a nappy. And there's always space for that. So sometimes in class, we just don't do any massage because they're all at different stages. Sometimes we just have conversations. Sometimes we just have that cup of tea or
Yeah.
um, cold drinks. Sometimes there's cake conversation. Just about being in the space with no judgment.
Yeah.
And because when you're a new mom and maybe it's your first and you think everybody's looking at me, everybody wants to see what I'm going to do. It's none of that in our classes. It's a completely safe space for people to come and just be.
Yeah. Brilliant. And so, would a new mum bring the baby for a block period of time, or is it drop in, drop out? How does it work?
We like to do a block, and the reason we do a block is because we learn a full body routine. So we sometimes do 5-week blocks where we learn um, arms, chest, face, tummy. We sometimes do a 10-week block where we'll do all of that. Plus, we'll do some reflexology on the feet.
Oh wow.
So when we
Oh, I can see my
I
little feet.
know, I know. But do you know what? That's brilliant because it's quite tricky when you're demonstrating it on tiny little newborn
Yeah.
feet. But
Chloe's even got wrinkles on her
yeah,
feet.
I know she's really lifelike.
She just.
Um, but those are skills that you can use beyond that
Yeah.
baby toddlerhood because Phoebe will sometimes have some reflexology on her feet. So if she's feeling
Yeah.
a little bit, I think the last time she was stressed about a dance exam and she was like, oh, could I just have some? So we just did a little soothing routine on
Lovely.
her
Yeah.
feet. And obviously, they're much easier to find all the
Yeah.
pressure points when they're that little bit bigger. But
So
yes,
what
there's
sort of
skills that you can
training have
learn.
you had to do all this? Yoga, baby reflexology, the massage. There's
Yeah.
a lot gone into that.
Yeah,
How
so
have you fitted all this in?
it's all organised through Basking Babies, and they have award-winning classes, and then it's like over a block of I think it was like 8 weeks, but very concentrated. So every day, full days, and yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, but actually, a lot of it is the routines are simple, and we make them simple so that because one of the reasons that we do it is to build parenting confidence.
Mm,
So you don't want like a really
yeah.
complicated routine. You want it to be simple. It's going to be effective. So lots of parents come and their children have got tummy problems, so they're windy and they might be a bit discomfort, constipated. So there's just some really gentle, simple moves that we can teach them to practice at home
Mhm.
that will help. And I tell you, so the things I get excited about in my life as a Basking Babies teacher is wind and poo. And so if we get that in a class, it's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So it's not not the same as my HR world, but I
Polar
love it.
opposite, yeah.
Yeah, and if you get a bit of wind, like you're
Dual
winning.
clap.
Yeah. One of the moves we do in reflexology is for stopping hiccups, or it might help to aid hiccups. And literally one of the babies just stopped hiccuping in class, and we're like, "Wow, that's amazing." So they do work.
I was gonna ask you actually what sort of results you've seen with the babies and the parents. So have you apart from hiccups, have you got any
No.
other stories you'd
Yes,
like to
well,
share?
we had one little boy, and he got the memo about the poo move. So on the first time that we did the tummy routine, and we had a poo in class, I'm like, yes, this is amazing. The next week, he'd done it before he'd even come. Just as he was coming to class, I'm thinking, oh, okay, he's ready for this. So lots of success, but
Yeah.
just even seeing the progression with them. So if they stay with you for 10 weeks and they come as a tiny new baby,
Yeah.
I mean, the youngest I think we've had in class is 4 weeks old, because it's really about being able to get out of the house with all
Yeah.
the gubbins and feeling safe and confident. And they're 14 weeks old, so they look like completely different little people. It's amazing, and they start noticing the other babies in the class, and so it's really good for mums to make friends. But it's actually really social for the babies as
Yeah,
well.
fantastic.
So
Where do all your
yeah.
classes take place?
So we've got classes running in Stapley Community Hall, which is a fantastic venue. Love it there. And one at the Little P Play Cafe in Sandbach, which is
Oh.
a newish class, which is a really nice
Mhm.
class as well. Always on the lookout for new venues. It's finding the right times and places that fit
Mm.
for people. I was just chatting with somebody from Serenity Baby Clinic about potentially doing them from their venue. So
What sort of venue and size? So you've got a community hall and you've got a play cafe. Is it quiet? There's nobody interrupting? Is it a small room that
yeah,
houses a certain
for
number
the
of people?
massage, we like to have a cozy space. Maximum class size is around 15, but I think actually 8 to 10
Okay.
is a really good size, because then everybody gets plenty of time. We always allow an hour and a half for our classes, so there's plenty of time to get a drink,
Mhm.
have a chat, and like I say, they don't always want massage all at the same time. Community halls are a really good venue, something that's calm.
Does the do you do all of the baby massage, baby yoga, and reflexology all combined, or do people sign up for one or the other?
So I have a mixture. So I do a combined class with baby massage and baby yoga, but that's for babies that are 12 weeks or older.
Right.
So we'll typically start with a few weeks of baby massage, and then we'll build in some of the yoga moves, because the yoga is just that little next developmental stage on. You need to make sure about head and neck kind of control, but we're really mindful to make sure that we're kind of considering baby's position
Mm.
throughout all of those classes. But we do have a combined class. It works quite well when we do them separately as well, because you tend to get younger babies on the massage because they can come from newborn up until they're actively crawling. And then the yoga obviously is from 12 weeks.
Brilliant.
Uh,
Now you've got an event coming up.
I have.
Tell me about that.
So, with Basking Babies, it's part of a franchise. So we went down to the Excel Centre in London in March, and we were exhibiting there. And our founder, Carla, was talking as the baby massage expert. So she was on the main stage. And there were so many different businesses there showcasing their services and products for new families. And I thought, we don't have anything similar up here. And I was feeling a little bit fizzy in the brain when I was coming back up on the train. I thought, what could we do that would be like this? And then coincidentally, I had two mummies in class that both had moved to the area,
Mhm.
both to Nantwich from London. And so they'd had their baby, one had had their baby at Leighton and one had their baby down south. But they didn't know about what other
Yeah.
services, what other offers are out there. So I just thought, oh yeah, I definitely feel a pull to do something here. So, you know, being one of those kind of people that, and those doers, I thought, I'm just going to do it,
Yeah.
and I'm going to set
Good
up
for you.
an event. So we created the South Cheshire Baby and Early Years Show, and really speculatively started inviting some people that I know. So a couple of local people that run antenatal classes, that do pregnancy and postnatal Pilates. And that sounds like a really good idea, Rachel. Let's do it. So That's kind of how it was born.
Yeah, lovely.
And
And what can we expect at the event on the 17th of May?
17th of May at Wychwood Park, well, you can expect we've got exhibitors that are for antenatal care. So we've got hypnobirthing, we've got a doula, we've got a pregnancy massage, and we've got then services for once babies arrived. So we've got I'll be there doing baby massage. We've got infant sleep consultant. We've got newborn and family photography coming. We've got um postnatal mummy MOT. So
Oh,
Sandbach Physio are coming to talk to us about that, and various different other providers. I've spoken to somebody this week who does strength training. So for after baby's arrived, how do you get your physical strength back? Takes a lot out of you. And when we do baby yoga, we do like walking around the room and just even people being aware of their core strengths. Some fitness people. Who else have we got?
and people doing talks or having a exhibitor stand?
So a mixture. So we've got talks. We've got a talk from our sleep consultant, myself, got some infant first aid,
Lovely.
and our antenatal professional birth nerd Cheshire.
Brilliant.
Yeah, a real mixture of things. And hopefully we'll get lots of people that come in and find something that they're
Yeah,
looking
absolutely.
for the stage that they're at. But I'm hoping that it is going to provide another bit of connection as well. So parents hopefully will be able to come and find what they're looking for. But I also think as exhibitors and people that are working in this area, being able to connect with other people to say, oh, so we have conversation in our classes, and somebody said, oh, about the pelvic health. And I'm like, well, you need to go to
Yeah,
this place. So just
yeah,
having that person that you can then, a bit like netball,
yeah,
that you can
absolutely.
refer on, trusted
Definitely.
providers that you can say,
Yeah.
yeah, you would be safe with that person, and go and check out their services.
I wish you the very best of luck with it. I'm
Thank
sure it'll
you.
be fantastic.
Thank you.
And I shall look forward to hearing all about it. I'm sure it'll be very, very successful.
Thank
And thank you also, Rachel, for being a member of Nantwich Info. It's been great to have you on as one of my founding members, which has been lovely. So thank you very much for your support. I wrap up by asking, or sometimes I start the podcast by asking about whether you're a dabber. Are you an honorary or an original?
Well, so I will say I'm honorary dabber. My maternal grandfather was born in the holy city of Nantwich, as he always used to say. And so he was a dabber, and my mum was born in Nantwich as well. But
Excellent, excellent stuff. Well, thank you very much indeed. And your website address is?
www.baskingbabies.com/crew.
Thank you very much indeed, Rachel.
Thank
And
you,
Chloe.
Liz.
Great
Thank
to meet you.
you. Cheers.
1, 2.